Hi, this is Greg with HVAC Solutions, and today we've brought in Ruth Knockhart from Honeywell to talk about RedLink technology and the new internet applications for that. So here's Ruth.
Hi everyone. I wanted to first say that this is going to be more of an overview today, and so I've put my number up there, 630-536-4519. If at a later time you would like to maybe get more in depth and have some more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So just to give everyone kind of up to speed on what RedLink is, it does work in every type of home, and we generally say up to 10,000 square feet. However, we've actually done homes much larger than this. What's great is that you won't get any interference from other devices. So if there's other wireless devices in the home, you won't have any interference with them. And then each of our products each have their own code so that they won't be interfering with each other, or also with maybe a neighbor that might also have RedLink products. These were specifically designed for the HVAC industry. However, we also use this design in our wireless security systems. And just to show the quality of the products, we actually do all of the Wells Fargos across the country with our wireless security, and as you can imagine, that needs to be pretty safe and secure. We also do an internal safeguard to make sure that the signal is correct. So what Honeywell actually did is they bought their own bandwidth, and so whenever a device actually checks itself, you're not going to have any interference from any other product. So nobody else uses our bandwidth. We actually bought it from the FTC. So prior to the end of last year, we had actually marketed for the last 4 years now. We've marketed these RedLink products. And the devices that we had out there before then, we have a wireless outdoor air sensor, a portable comfort control, and we have 2 thermostats, the Wireless Focus Pro, which many of you may be familiar with, and the Prestige and Prestige IAQ thermostats, which have will now be updated to what we call our 2.0, Prestige 2.0. So the Wireless Focus Pro comes in programmable or non-programmable, up to 3 heat, 2 cool. And in the kit, as you can see pictured there, you'll see a wireless thermostat that operates on batteries, so it is completely wireless. Also what we call our electronic interface module, or EIM board, which I like to call the remote subbase. And then also a discharge air sensor. And the function of the discharge air sensor is in case the homeowner forgets to change their battery, then the discharge air sensor will keep it at a minimum and a maximum temperature. A little bit more about the wireless outdoor sensor. Looks like it's having a little trouble coming up. But the wireless outdoor sensor, you don't need any wires. It can be placed on the true north of a building, and it doesn't necessarily have to go on the building. As a matter of fact, we kind of joke that it could go in a tree if you wanted it to. You just want to make sure that the homeowner or the building owner is able to reach it so that they can change the batteries. And I apologize, it looks like the slide is having a little trouble coming up, but hopefully it'll come up here in a second. It is reliable in all climates, so it's completely weatherproof. It does come with lithium batteries that last about 5 years, and it will transmit the weather and the temperature every 4 minutes. Keep going. Okay. Again, apologize. I guess the slide is having a little trouble. here we go. Okay. Just a little bit about the portable comfort control. You can use this in two different applications. First of all, with a home that just has one thermostat, you actually can select the portable comfort control to actually be the sensor where you're at. So great application for this would be maybe an older couple that has trouble getting up and down, that may want to be comfortable where they're at, and they don't care what the rest of the house is. Another application might be if you had a baby's room and you want to make sure that they're comfortable, then you would set the device where you can see in the picture there where it says this device, and it will actually sense and make sure that the baby's room is comfortable. Now, of course, it's going to make the rest of the home uncomfortable, but that's why we sometimes like to joke that it's poor man zoning, but it will provide comfort where you're at. The second application would be that this actually can control up to 16 thermostats. And so you can actually control from one spot in the home, you can control up to 16 different thermostats. So in general speaking, a lot of our contractors that sell zoning never sell zoning without mentioning this, because the homeowners really like not having to go throughout the house and changing the thermostat. So that kind of gives you kind of a quick update of where we were pre the end of last year. And then the end of 2011, we actually moved to what we call RedLink 2.0. So what you're going to see now with the devices is, as Greg had introduced us, is that now we are internet capable from any internet anywhere, as well as any mobile device, any smart device, as long as it has the internet on it. And then we're also adding, with our Prestige 2.0 upgrade, we're adding the ability for you to do some diagnostics and alerts to the homeowner to let them know if there's trouble with their system. There also are some business generation type of alerts and reminders in there that can help you not only generate some business outside of when you're doing your installation, but also help you connect with your customer and make sure whenever there is a problem that they're coming back to you. So that brings us to the first item, which is the RedLink Internet Gateway and Total Connect Comfort services. And in order to do that, we add a device called the RedLink Internet Gateway. You can see a picture of it there. It does, a lot of people will say that it looks like a little modem, but it is about 4 inches tall and 5 inches wide. And included in our packet, or in our box, is the gateway, a 3-foot internet cable, and a power adapter. And these devices are fairly inexpensive, and we did that on purpose so that it could be affordable to the masses. But what's also nice, for those of you that have put in those items that I talked about in the beginning of the presentation, is that you can go back and actually sell this device to people that you've already put a wireless Focus Pro in or a Prestige. So these are compatible, backwards compatible to devices that you've already put in the field. Any upgrades that we have on the internet and on its capability will be pushed out to the gateway. And as a matter of fact, in about 2 weeks, actually it's about a week now, we're going to have our first upgrade, and that'll happen in the middle of the night, and it'll just be pushed out to everybody, and they'll get it. There'll be a downtime for about 5 minutes at like 2 in the morning, and then they will be capable of getting the new upgrades. And also for those people that have downloaded a app on their phone, they'll see a number 1 like I've shown there. And again, that should happen in about a week. One thing I do want to say is, which kind of sets us apart from some of the other capabilities out there, is that it is free. It's a free website, free app, no cost to you. The only thing that you have to do is put the thermostats in the home and add that RedLink internet gateway. Just to give you a little bit of perspective on the opportunity that we have now in our industry, and to be able to build on this not only now but also in the future, is that 66% of the people in the United States do have internet, and when you jump up to 75,000 combined household income, it actually gets up to 91% of the people have internet. And when you're talking about smartphones, today about half the people have a smartphone, and they're predicting that in 2015 that will jump to 80%. As the phones get less and less expensive, and really now they're pretty much free, and now that you can only have to kind of eat the $30 a month for the internet, more and more people are actually looking at having a smartphone. And so as far as what you need to do in connecting to the internet, first of all, because this is RedLink technology is a bandwidth that we bought ourselves, it actually has been very, very secure. And so when you do put this in, I know one of the things that contractors don't enjoy is having to go back on a service call. And so in the last 3 years that we've had this product out there, it's been very, very high quality, very, very few returns. And what's nice is that the range does go above 10,000 square feet, so it should be applicable in most homes and businesses out there. You also don't need their password, so that's not required when you're setting this up. You don't need to get their Wi-Fi password. That's another benefit to it. So really our 2 steps to setting up the gateway. First thing is you're going to plug it into the back of the router with the Ethernet cable. And in most cases, you're going to find that most people have Comcast in the area, and you will find openings in the back of the router. However, if by chance you run into someone who doesn't, you can go to Best Buy and buy a splitter, and that will have 4 openings in it, and those cost about $30, so they're pretty inexpensive. And then you have to plug the gateway into the wall. And then from there, all you have to do is establish connection. And with all of our wireless devices, there's always a button that you push to connect. So you don't have to wire anymore, but you do have to connect and tell them that the devices are there. Now the gateway will handle up to 4 RedLink thermostats. And this is where some confusion does come in, so hopefully I can clarify that here today. When you're talking about System 1 and System 3, the System 1 is our Prestige, and it's actually a 2-wire thermostat. Now, those 2 wires are only to power the thermostat, and the reason we need that is because of the HD screen and all the programming in it. If it were battery operated, the batteries would die too quickly. So you do need to have 2 wires, but it doesn't have to come from the basement. It can come from anywhere. For example, if you had a laundry room on the 2nd floor and you had a transformer in there, you could pull it off of there. And so that electronic interface module, or EIM board, is actually where it communicates. Same thing with the wireless Focus Pro, which is demonstrated there in System 3. That also connects from the EIM board. And by the way, you can, for those of you online that are more commercially oriented, you can put both of those EIM boards in a rooftop. They are rated to handle the weather conditions there. It just can't be out in the elements. But System 4 is another version that we have, which is actually hardwired. And because of that, the antenna is actually in the thermostat. So the RedLink device actually looks at System 1, System 4, and System 3 as separate systems, and so the count here would be 3. And then when you look at system 2, which is our zoning panel, we've added what we call a wireless adapter to it, and that's that smaller gray box to the left. That particular device now replaces the electronic interface module. And that device is what communicates with the RedLink Internet Gateway. So in this example here, even though there are 7 thermostats shown, it actually only reads as 4. So when you are using the wireless adapter, it counts as 1 rather than 4. And so conceivably, if you had 4 zoning panels and 4 wireless adapters and 16 thermostats, you could do 16 thermostats off of 1 gateway. But I have run into several applications lately where we've had like 7 rooftops or 11 rooftops. And so what the contractors have done is just added a gateway for each of the 4. So in that 7 rooftop application, you would need 2. And in that 11 rooftop application that I was talking about, you would need 3 gateways. And they're just plugging it into the owner's system that they have. And because they're fairly inexpensive, it is, as long as you're talking about that big of an application, the cost really isn't that big of a deal. So now I'm going to jump into what the end user needs to do in order to set up. I'm just going to quickly go through this so that you can get an idea of what is involved here. And the reason I like to show this is, remember back in the beginning I talked about connecting you to the homeowner. This is a way for your company to be connected to the homeowner by helping them get set up, and in the end you're going to actually have a room for you to put your name in so that whenever they have problems they can actually punch on a button and it'll come to your name and number. And so the website is mytotalconnectcomfort.com. And to get set up, all the homeowner needs to do is to do like you normally would with any type of account that you set up online. You establish an email and a password and put in all of your information. And then once you've done that, we will send you an email that verifies that you're set up. And then you'll go back in through that email to complete the registration. If you don't get that email, it probably means that something didn't happen and that you need to go back and re-register. Then what you're going to do is, for each of the locations that you set up, because you can do multiple locations, you're going to grab the MAC code and the CRC code off of the bottom of the RedLink Internet Gateway, and you're going to put that into the website where it prompts you to do that. And just to quickly show you what the screen would look like from the homeowner's perspective when they do get set up. Now, just to let you know, this is what you'll see when you're on a computer, but when you're on the phone, it will look different, and I'll show you that in a few slides. But if you have a Prestige thermostat, because the Prestige also senses humidity, you'll see on the screen the indoor temperature and the humidity. And then the blue box on the right-hand side is the outdoor temperature, and you'll also see that it shows the outdoor temperature and the humidity. Now, if you don't have a Prestige thermostat, then the humidity won't show up if you have a wireless Focus Pro. And if you don't have an outdoor temperature sensor, then the blue box won't show up as well. It'll just be all white. Now, today, the capability that the homeowner has is or business owner, is that they can raise and lower the temperature. They can also put it on a permanent or a temporary hold. And then they can change the system setting from heat to cool to off. And if they have an auto changeover thermostat, then auto will show up. And if they have a a heat pump and they utilize emergency heat, then that would show up as well. So back to the screen as far as in the My Total Connect Comfort. If you have multiple locations, and this is an example of what that would look like, the beginning screen would show you that, and then you hit the one that you're either looking at or there's a concern. And you'll see here on this particular one, the two red highlighted companies have a problem there. And then in the bottom, I believe it's down there, right-hand side, I can't see it, is you can see that there are several locations listed there. So you can actually have thousands of locations. You don't necessarily, at least we don't know of any high limit to that. So you can have as many as you want, and you can keep adding them. So for example, someone could have conceivably have like 50 McDonald's and their homes and all of that all listed in one spot. And then when you hit each spot, then what shows up are the zones. If they only have one thermostat, there will just be one bar, but in this case, there are 7 thermostats in this California house. And the red areas show that there's a problem in the basement and a problem in the guest room. And then you'll see down at the bottom there, can you push that over? Sorry, I can see that. There. Okay, I want to make sure it was there. And you can see there in the bottom that there is a button that says dealer info, and that's where, again, I was saying earlier that it would connect to you. And so whenever there's a problem, they'll be able to see your information. And so what you want to, as a company, want to decide is, do you want to spend the extra 15, 20 minutes to help them get set up? It doesn't take very long, but if you do, the reward is that when there's a problem, they'll get your information. We also have the ability to set up sub-users. And what a sub-user is someone who actually has control over the temperature and over the system. And so the homeowner can decide whether they want to have a sub-user or not. And they can also give them privileges for certain parts of the system and not. So for example, let's say that someone had 10 restaurants, and they had a manager that was in charge of 5 of them and a different manager that was in charge of the other 5. The owner could actually have a look at all of the locations, and then they could set up where the manager of the 5 could only see his 5, and then the other one would only see his. So it gives them the ability to raise and lower the temperature at this point, and then also change the system. You could also be, we have a little bit of a glitch right now, although in a week this should be corrected. You can't have multiple emails in multiple places. So if you were a user, you couldn't be one in your own building. So we're correcting that with the next upgrade, but right now you may or may not want to be a sub-user for a client, depending on how much liability you want to take on there, because you will be able to change their system. And everybody that I've pretty much talked to about this since the beginning of the year, most people don't want that liability. But again, that's your choice as to whether you want to do that or not. And then at the end, as I said, you can put in your name, your address, your phone number, and your website so that whenever anything goes wrong, it comes back to you. Now today they can set up to 6 emails inside of each location that they can get alerts. And those alerts are whether your temperature is higher than lower than a certain amount, whether your humidity is higher or lower, if you have a Prestige. Again, if you have a wireless Focus Pro that doesn't sense humidity, that just questions won't be there. You also can decide whether you want communication failure alerts. And the first one is whether you've lost communication from the Total Connect Comfort account to the rig. the internet gateway, and what that probably means is that someone probably lost internet connection. The second one is whether they've lost communication between the RedLink internet gateway and the thermostat, which in all likelihood means that they probably lost power to the home, or it could mean that maybe someone didn't change their batteries. So that is available for them today. And then there also is a button on the bottom that says to alert you when it returns to normal. So I have a demo set up with a zone panel, and I've taken the zone panel out to show people, and I've returned and plugged it back in, and then I'll get an email saying that yes, everything has returned to normal. And previous to that, I've gotten emails saying that there's a problem. The one thing I might want to give just a hint is when you do set this up, tell people that when they do have a communication loss or power outage, to not fiddle with anything, that it will reset itself. And when I've done that, when I've gone back in and replugged up my demo board, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and then everything just resets itself. That's what's nice about it. So they don't need to do anything to the system. We do have apps today that are available. We have the iPhone and iPad app. We also have the Android and the Android tablet app available. If you have a BlackBerry or any other type of phone, you can still get to My Total Connect Comfort. All that an app does is it creates a shortcut for you, but the homeowner or the business owner can still get to it from their BlackBerry. They just need to go to the browser and type in mytotalconnectcomfort.com, and then they can save it on their phone to get to it easier. And we do also have available for you guys, it'll say there's an app, and today it's just available for the iPhone. There's an app that says demo on it, and you guys can actually demo it to the homeowner. We will have more. I mean, you can download it on your iPad, but it doesn't work as well. We're working on that, and we should have one for the Android pretty soon. But what's nice about that is there's a single location demo and a multiple location demo, and you can show that to your homeowners when you're out. And it really, words always mean less than a picture, and so it's always good to show them what exactly they can get. And all of these apps, again, are free. They don't cost you anything. All you do is go into the account, into the Apple Store, and type in Honeywell. You will see other apps there because, as I said earlier, our security division does use wireless capabilities as well. But if you put in Honeywell and look for the one that has 72 degrees, like what's pictured here, that's the one that's for heating and air conditioning. So when you do have it on the phone, there's a little bit of a change in what you see. It is broken up. It's not all on one page because of the fact that it's a smaller screen. But this is what it will look like. It'll open up to locations. Then you'll hit each location, and then what'll come up is, like it shows here with the bedroom, the temperature, and that actually depicts what it looks like when you have it on hold. And then you'll go on the bottom there where it says system. You'll hit that sun there to get to the heat, cool, off, auto, emergency heat screen. So now just to give you a little, so that's pretty much as far as the internet capabilities. Like I said, in about a week now, we're also going to have the ability for you to be able to change the humidifier setting. You're also going to have the ability for you to change the fan setting. And then we'll also have 90 different alerts that will be available. And that has to do with the Prestige, and I'll kind of give you a little overview on that here in a few minutes. But there's a lot of things in it that you can turn on and turn off for the homeowner. And so they'll be able to get those alerts over their phone as well. So if they're out of town, they'll not only get alerts on the temperature, but they'll also get alerts on other things as well. So now just to talk a little bit about the Prestige 2.0, and again, we have a 2-wire version that uses that electronic interface module that's shown there. And then also what's shown on this picture are a discharge air and a supply side sensor that come in the packet, so return and supply. And I'll explain in a little bit what those are, but those come in our basic kit. And then we also have the hardwired, but with the hardwired you have to pull all the wires for the equipment, all the wires for the IAQ products, all the way up to the thermostat. So just some needs that we identified when we came up with the new version of the Prestige is, as we've always been trying for the last few years, is to try to have less wires for installation, and the ability to drive repeat business, and then the ease to incorporate system enhancements. And all those system enhancements, as I said earlier, will be pushed over the internet if they're set up with the gateway. And then also easy for the homeowner to program, and that's pretty much been in the Prestige from the beginning, has been the ability for the homeowner to easily, we actually patented our easy language that makes it a lot easier for the homeowner to understand programming it. So instead of asking the program, wake, leave, return, sleep mode, now they're being asked, when do you wake up? And what temperature would you like it to be? So just a little bit easier for them to understand. So a couple of those things that we've put in to help you drive business are some reminders. We have 4 preset service reminders: fall service reminder, a spring service reminder, a general service reminder, and your warranty is expiring soon. And what you do is you set up the reminder, and then you tell it when you want it, what month you want it to happen. But you also have the ability to customize these. And so you can, as it depicts here, you can actually type in what you want that yellow button to read, and then also when they hit that for more info, what you want it to say. So they give the example of, it's allergy season, call us for indoor air quality solutions. And the homeowner has the ability to reset it, remind them later, or view your information. So you can put in a total of 10 reminders for the homeowner. So we had some of those before, and in blue here are highlighted all of the new ones that we have. So you can not only alert them to them needing a spring cleaning, but also that they need to be doing some service work with their equipment. So either changing their air filter, changing their humidifier pad, changing the filters inside their dehumidifier or ventilator, cleaning their electronic air cleaner, or changing their UV bulb. And in that, you can tell it exactly when you want them. If you want it to be 6 months or 12 months, you pick when you want that reminder to show up for the homeowner. Now, some people, when I've been talking about this, said, well, you know, a homeowner may or may not want those things to happen, and that might be a conversation that you would want to have with your homeowner. But as a busy mom who usually takes care of all this stuff in the house, I definitely would like to have that reminder, because there's a lot of things on my plate, and I'd like to know that I need to do that. And so keep that in mind, that there are a lot of people that would like to know when they need to do these items to their home. We also added, for our 2-wire, the one that has the EIM board, we did add the ability for you to do 3 indoor air quality devices all at once. And the way we do that is we have selectable universal outputs, and they're actually terminals U1, U2, U3, and you can at the same time be able to control a humidifier, dehumidifier, and a ventilation machine. So if you had maybe 1 or 2 or 3 items, the Prestige can control all of those at one time. We also did selectable universal inputs as well, and we have 2 of those, S1 and S2. Now, some people ask me, you know, if I have already wired devices, can I hook them up? Yes, you can to those devices, to those terminals. You can hook in a wired indoor remote sensor and a wired outdoor sensor. And then those 2, the discharge and the return air sensor that I showed you, it was pictured earlier, those also get hooked into that S1 and S2 if you're going to use those. Those come in the pack for you to use if you want, or to keep them for another application later. We also have already pre-programmed in alerts, and those alerts have to do with items that you would hook into those inputs, the S1 and the S2. So pre-programmed in there already are full drain pan, dirty filter alert, water leak alert, system shutdown alert, service needed alert, and fan failure alert. But you can also do a customizable alert. So you just select from the list below which ones you want to have. So this is an example of selecting the water leak alert. And then you just tell the thermostat which terminal you hooked it to. So in this case, they're hooking it to S1. And then you're going to say whether or not it's normally opened or normally closed. And then what the homeowner sees is a button that says your cooling system has a full drain pan. And they'll press the yellow button, and then it shows up that they need to either view your information or be reminded later. And then you can download for color your logo into the Prestige thermostat. You also can do a custom alert. And what everyone seems really excited about is the ability to maybe tell the homeowner that they're having trouble with their sump pump. So they would put in a watchdog type. I don't know if there's any others, Greg, that you, any other names of ones that you guys sell. But you can tie in an alert to those S1, S2, and then it would show an alert up to the homeowner saying that there's something wrong with their sump pump. Especially for those snowbirds that are gone, they really want to know if there's any water seeping out at all, so they can call someone immediately. You also can change the color of the display if you want. So there's different colors. Being that I went to Michigan State and I'm a Spartan, I'm pretty partial to the green and white one. But for those of you Northwestern fans, we also have a purple and white. So back to the two sensors that come in the pack, we use those for what we call the Delta T Diagnostics. And what this can do a couple of things. First of all, it can maybe alert the homeowner to something starting to go bad before it really goes bad. It also can help drive business back to you again if there's something going on. And then conceivably might be able to solve that problem before it's in the middle of winter or the middle of a hot summer, because that problem will have probably surfaced way before then, and you'll get a seasonality reduction from utilizing this type of Delta T diagnostics. So what you're going to do is you're going to run a test of your heating and cooling system. Oops, going too fast, sorry. Then as you can see down on the left corner, this particular test was run, and the Delta T was 22 degrees. And so what you may want to do is say, okay, if it gets below 15 degrees, then I want to be alerted, or if it gets above 25 degrees, then I want to be alerted. And you can tell it how often you want it to measure this, and then you can also change the sensitivity. You can change it from 1 to 5. In case you may be getting some nuisance alerts, you might not want it to be super sensitive. But there again, you do want to catch it if there's problems that are occurring. So this shows an example of the heating system maybe being below the minimum Delta T. Could be dirty burners, or they need adjustment. The homeowner, again, would see the yellow button or whatever color you've established, and they'll hit that, and then it will show up with your dealer information. Hopefully they don't dismiss it, but they do have that ability to do that. And then what you would see, they won't see this, but you'll see in the alerts log exactly what was going on, what was calling, what stage, if any of the accessories were working or not, what was the minimum and maximum delta T limit, and what did the discharge air sensors sense. So it gives you a quicker way to maybe see what's going on. So the way you get into this is there's a data logs drop down that you hit, and in that there's an alerts log and there's a user log, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But it will save up to the last 25 alerts that have occurred, and actually you can go in and delete them if you want after you've taken care of the problem. But it will show you what the last 25 alerts are that happened. And then, as I said, we also have a user interactions log. And we actually saved the last 250 user interactions. And some people think that's this is kind of funny, but I know everyone's run into the problem where a homeowner has fiddled with the thermostat and they want to blame it on your system, but it's not the heating and cooling system, it's them. So this gives you a way to really see if they touched the thermostat. So if you have a lady calling you saying that, you know, this thermostat doesn't work in the middle of the night, it's too cold, and it turns out that the husband's turning the thermostat down, this gives you a way to see exactly what they're doing. Again, to help you diagnose it. Now, a couple things that I should probably go back and, one thing I should probably go back and mention is when I talked about the Wireless Focus Pro, the internet gateway, the outdoor temperature sensor, and that portable comfort control are all compatible with the Wireless Focus Pro. But with these new things I'm going to show you right now that have just come out, these new devices, these are only compatible with our Prestige and only work with our Prestige 2.0. So they don't work with the previous version of Prestige. So now what's really exciting is we've come out with an indoor air sensor, and it is wireless. And you can see the dimensions there. It's pretty small. It can also be painted, so if someone has a very nice faux painting on their wall and they have a big home and they've spent a lot of money on that, they can incorporate it into it. Or if you have a business owner or restaurant and they want it to kind of blend into the wall, they can paint it. You can put up to 6 of these devices in a space. And I say up to 6 because if the thermostat is maybe in the manager's room and you have 6 sensors out in the space, you can do 6. However, if the thermostat is in the space and it's one of those sensors, then you can only do up to 5. So the maximum is 6 depending on whether you're using the thermostat or not. So if a homeowner had it in a closet and had a big great room, you could put 6 out there, and if not, if they actually did want the thermostat where they can see it and see the alerts, then you could only do 5. It does also sense humidity, so it's not just temperature, it's also humidity. And it does average the temperature. So what you see on the thermostat is actually the average temperature. And what you see over the internet, if it is connected to the internet, is the average temperature. So you don't see each of the remotes. What's really kind of cool is you could actually humidify on one level and dehumidify down in the basement or in a crawl space. And you can do that with one thermostat. The battery life is about a year, and it does have a 5-year warranty like all of our products do these days. It does operate between 0 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit. However, for optimal battery life, you do want to kind of keep it between 35 and 114 degrees. So a couple neat things about this is now you have 2 options, and I know that a lot of you have run into this, where you have a thermostat that got put in the very wrong spot in a heat load or it's by something that's causing it not to sense correctly. So now you have 2 options. You can either patch the wall and put a Wireless Focus Pro in the right spot, or you could put the new Prestige 2.0 where the thermostat was, lock it out, and put a sensor in the correct spot. And so it now can also be a problem solver for you. As far as the battery and how that works, it does flash red. There's on the front of that, on the bottom, there is an LED that flashes red 2 to 3 weeks before the batteries are depleted. But before that, the thermostat will actually have on it replace batteries in your indoor sensor, and there'll be a warning for that 2 months ahead of time. But otherwise, it'll just remain off until you get to that 2-week critical point. Then when you put the batteries back in, it will flash green to let you know that everything is okay. If by chance the batteries aren't strong enough, then it'll flash red if there's a problem. The next device that we just came out with is an entry and exit remote. This device comes not only with a residential plate, but also with a commercial plate. Because our new Prestige is also a commercial stat, and I'll tell you a few things about that here in a minute, but it comes with the home, away, and vacation for the residential, and with occupied, unoccupied, and holiday for the commercial side. And what this allows is for the thermostat to be set back from one spot. You can do, for each thermostat, you can do up to 3 remotes. So you could do a front door, back door, garage door, or in a business, you could do the front, back, office space maybe. And you can do up to 16 thermostats with each one of these. So what's great about this is, for example, someone like myself in a residence. If you have someone who doesn't have the same schedule every day, I work out of my house, and I'm there some days, I'm not there some days, and I can never schedule something to meet my needs because it's never the same. So on my way out, I can just hit away, take advantage of energy savings, and if I come home earlier than the 5 o'clock that I have mine set back to come back up, then I can have a comfort level without having to go to my 2 thermostats and setting them both up. Another idea might be people with young kids. If they come home for a half day and maybe they want to be able to have the kids be comfortable, but you don't want them fiddle with the thermostat. Same thing in the commercial application. Maybe you don't want people fiddling with the thermostat, and so they can, on their way out, hit the occupied or unoccupied. The battery inside of it comes, it's a 7-year battery life, and it's very, very light, as well as the indoor wireless sensor are very light. You could either drill them into the wall, or they're so light you could even 3M tape them, which is kind of easy for installing. So real quick installation, and the costs on these are very, very low. Another item, I kind of say that I think this is maybe a little gadgety, but this doesn't have to go on the wall. This could actually be a true remote. And so what this does for ventilation is it can give you a 20, 40, 60-minute boost to your ventilation machine, as well as it can turn on the fan for 20, 40, 60 minutes. So I think in most cases you're probably going to find nowadays that the fan is running all the time, but if it's not, and you have someone with allergies, they might want to hit this to get in the spring and in the fall when they're having trouble with their allergies, and maybe they want their air cleaners to work a little bit more. Again, fairly inexpensive device for you to add on and add more profit to your sale. So that's it as far as the new devices. I just want to tell you a couple things about the commercial aspect. So now with the Prestige 2.0, you can carry one thermostat that is applicable for not only your residential but also your commercial applications. All you do is in the beginning you hit whether you want it to be residential or commercial, and the language changes. Although we still do have that easy language I spoke of earlier, we have it also on the commercial side. And it does meet commercial code, and it is Title 24 compliant. So as I said, you have that easy language where it will just ask you, is the first period occupied or unoccupied, and it helps you with programming it easily within the field, or having the owners program it fairly easily. We also have a holiday schedule that's available, and you can pick the ones that we've pre-programmed in there, or you can also set a holiday schedule. For example, if maybe they might be down a week for Christmas holiday, you can actually select that as well. We also have a commercial override, and you can give a limit to that as far as the amount of hours that it can be overridden. And so in this example, they've overridden it. Now you as the installation and contractor would set up in the installation setup, you'd set up the hours. So in this example, it's 3 hours. And so that person can override it from it's 9:15 right now. They can override it for 3 more hours. So they can do it until 12:15. Had to think that for a second. And so they're able to override it until that time period, and then it'll go back to its regular program. You also can have the ability to initiate occupancy. So if, for example, you have a church with maybe the Boy Scouts use one of the rooms, and of course they always turn up the temperature, but they forget to do it when they leave, they can press for occupancy, and then whatever that setup is that you did as far as the override, it'll stay on for those amount of hours, and then it'll automatically go back. So on the front of the thermostat, you'll see where it says there in that purple button, press to start occupancy. And saving the church money because it doesn't say, it sets itself back rather than it staying on all evening until someone comes in the morning and sets it back. You also can name the locations. So on this particular one, it says office, occupied. So that if by chance you are using the remote sensors and you have these thermostats mounted in an equipment room or a manager's office, then you know which, by naming it, you know which thermostat applies with which space. You also can use remote setback capabilities, and you can set what you would want those setbacks to do when someone is in the space. And then you also can set whether or not you want it to delay when they leave. And this prevents, if someone's walking in and out, it prevents it from going on and off and gives it a little bit of delay to allow that to occur. You also can hook in on the 2.0. There's a connection that is A-LA where you can put in an economizer. And it works with our new Jade W7220, if any of you are using that, and with the W7212. You also can do a time of day function if you're trying to control lighting panels. And then if you want it to be more comfortable when they do arrive, you can also do a pre-occupancy purge of from 1 to 3 hours before they do arrive to make sure that the space is more comfortable. We also, so that's pretty much as far as the Prestige 2.0. I did want to put a little plug in here for a couple of kits. This over again so I can read it. Whoops, I'm sorry. So we have 2 new kits that actually have the RedLink Internet Gateway in it, and so to help you with the cost of it and to be able to maybe stock that on your truck as a part that you might want to have there all the time, just in case you are selling this and trying to promote it with either your homeowners or your business owners. So the YTH6320R 1114 is the wireless Focus Pro with the RedLink Internet Gateway in it. And then the YTH6320R 1122 also has the wireless outdoor sensor. And Greg here will make sure that you guys all get pricing on that. So just to kind of recap, with the new RedLink products, first of all, we made it very affordable for you to be able to offer it to the masses and to be able to go back and actually add it to any of your RedLink applications that you've already put in. And so you'll find that the accessories are very inexpensive. And because they're wireless and are for the most part, except for the Prestige, it's very easy to install and to be able to make most of your profit from adding on devices and not have much in labor. Also allows you to connect yourself to the homeowner, and as you've seen in almost all the devices, there's a way for them to get back to you and to your information. Also gives them alerts and diagnostics, so that for the homeowner, the benefit there is that you're going to be able to more quickly be able to decipher what's going on, as well as maybe give them a heads up to something going on before it becomes a severe problem. Also gives them reminders so that they know when they need to do things to keep their equipment at its highest efficiency. And all of these RedLink products are things that people are looking for and needs that they have. And then for you, we also tried to make it more universal, so you don't have to keep going back and forth to get the products that you need. So the new Prestige 2.0 is not only residential, but it's also light commercial. Also have universal outputs and inputs so that you can add a lot of accessories and not need different thermostats for different applications. And what I didn't have time for, and what if you'd like to do on more of an individual basis, is you really can tweak the equipment and make it run very efficiently within the programming of the thermostat. And so, you know, like I said earlier, I gave out my phone number. If you'd like me to go into that more further with you, I can do that. But it allows you to do some staging and different things, and especially those of you who do, if any of you do geothermal, this thermostat was actually made and designed exactly for that type of an application. And we did all this without all these additions, without increasing our price to you from the Prestige to the Prestige 2.0. So again, here is my phone number. I'd be happy to work with you to help get you up to speed and work with your service and install teams to make sure that they're comfortable. We also do have some hotlines available, and I've listed them there. The RedLink hotline is 855-RedLink, and that's available for you to use if you have any questions and you can't maybe get a hold of one of your Honeywell reps or your distributor reps and you're out in the field and you need help. Also, there's a general hotline that I encourage you to utilize. We have people sitting there on computers with drawings and everything to help you out on absolutely any application that you have. And then also the website on the bottom was made for our dealer base, www.forwardthinking.honeywell.com, and we have lots of information on there. We have videos. We actually have apps. For those of you using iPads, there's some apps on there now for that. We have all sorts of downloads that you can do, not only brochures, but spec sheets, and anything possible that you could need is on that website. So I encourage you to take a minute to go look at that. And with that, I don't know if anybody has any questions at all. Okay.
Just want to say thank you for spending your lunch hour with us, and want to say thanks to Ruth for going through this presentation. Thanks again.